Well, good evening everybody. Welcome back to Virtual Pool 4 Online. We're here, well, we would normally be here for Friday Night 9 Ball. The plan is that for the first hour we'll watch a match. We'll probably see a match and maybe a bit of another one. But we're actually really here for one of the few matches I'll probably be streaming in this year's Virtual Pool 4 World Straight Pool Championship. And there's a match, there's already been a match today between Bankster and Hairpig. I never watched most of it, I watched a bit of it. Hairpig was in the lead, I think, pretty much for most of it. Now it has to be said, Bankster did have chances to get himself really back into it. What I saw, he made a poor safety shot, and then the final mistake was when he had a chance again late on. He had a break ball which was a bit too straight, and I wasn't commentating obviously on it, but I was commentating in my head, and when he played the shot it was too straight, so he was going to have to force it into the pack, and hitting the side of the pack and going forward it was very likely to scratch, and yes, you've guessed it, he scratched. Hairpig won out in the end, so he's through to, I don't know whether it was a first round or a second round match. I presume it was a first round match, but Hairpig is through. But the match we're here for starts in just over an hour's time, and that's going to be between Mr. Fox and Bedhead. So as I say, we'll fill the time between now and then watching a match or so in the Friday Night 9 Ball, which again the good news this week is it is full again, a full house. So if we look at Friday Night 9 Ball, we've got Bankster in, Chimpy in, DJ Redo there, Fast Eddie, Houdini, John Boo, Christian, there's a name I've never seen, Lard, whoever that's going to be. I thought it was Larry for a minute, but it is Lard. There's Larry. There's another name I've never seen before, Little. Now, the thing is, these people that sign up, are they in the lobby? We'll have a quick look, because they might not have a clue about what the procedure is in these tournaments. I think we had one last week that disappeared, signed up and then never showed. We have Sarah P, semi-pro, Sergeresh, Spectre Dawn again, looking for another win, and Stefan and Travelling TT, so they're all in. The bracket should be going up in a couple of minutes, and my mic is definitely on. Hang on a minute though. Yeah, the mic is definitely on, and we should be good to go. And well, looking at the watch, it is about 2 minutes. So we've seen the players in Friday Night 9 Ball. Let's go to, well, I'll do it this way because it's probably the easiest way for me to get there. We'll go to the straight pool tournament and have a look at that bracket. So the players that remain in the tournament, those that didn't withdraw, Moz and Hazard have still to play in the first round. The deadline is February the 5th, so the deadline is tomorrow night at 9 PM GMT. Shibo is waiting in the winner of that match. Albinario is going to be playing Acero. Acero had that very comfortable win against Spud Boy in the first round. Tommy, it has to be mentioned, Tommy was well behind for most of the match against Matt or MC Clarkey. And when I dropped in, Matt was 140 odd to 70 odd in front, and Tommy battled his way back in it and won out in the end by 200 points to 177. So that's another good win for Tommy, having got the high run in the tournament. And I hasten to add, it's still the high run in the tournament in his first match against Snake Eyes. And then Tommy is through waiting on the winner of Sylvia and Larry, which is due to go ahead. When is that? I've totally lost track of what date. Well, anyway, it's listed there as February the 12th. Now that is next week for that match to go ahead. And then further down, we've got Popman still to play Vinces, whenever that's going to be. But again, of course, the problem is the deadline is tomorrow, so they need to get it on. And then we have the match. The match tonight with Mr. Fox and Bedhead, 8 PM GMT, so that's just an hour away. The rooms will be up for that Friday Night 9 Ball, by the way. We have got Stubb through to round 2. He had a comfortable win against the Great Guru, 200 points to 73. Stubbs' high run 32, which is not tournament winning standard, it has to be said. But then again, I don't think he was probably under much pressure. You know, if you don't have a lot coming back from your opponent, you don't have to try quite as hard. But Stubb will have to try a bit better against LS3, I would imagine. Sergresh and Woody, they're actually going ahead. What's that? Sunday night, is it? What day is this? This is Friday the 4th. Saturday the 5th, Sunday the 6th. So that's Sunday night at 8 o'clock in a round 2 match. And Brain Fill Out and Hairpig, of course, are now scheduled in round 2 to play one another. Hairpig having gone, as I say, through earlier on. So, good evening, everybody. Whoever I've missed, good evening to Hairpig and Mark. The rooms are up for Friday Night 9 Ball. There's also another tournament going on at the moment, which is, what is it, 6 ball. So, first round matches, well, I think it's got to be Fast Eddie and Spectre Dawn again. Semi-pros playing Stefan, Bankster, Travelling TT, JJ Redo and Lard. Now, that was what it was as well. The two of them are in the room. Houdini and Christian, they're still waiting on one of them showing up. So it seems that Liddle has turned up. Where are these guys from, by the way? These might be people that have changed their name. Where are they from? Well, there's Lard. He's from the UK. And Liddle and Lard, weren't they a comedy duo, Mark? Liddle and Lard. Right, so into the match with Fast Eddie and Spectre Dawn. Well, they're all going to be a grind, that's the problem. They're all going to be bits and pieces, most of those matches. So, we'll hang on a minute to change the cloth colour. Miscellaneous. And wrong one, what am I doing? No, that's wrong. That's what I'm doing. Swag Master Flex. Oh, there's Craig Liddle now. It's never always a good idea to be watching the stream while you're playing a match. You've got to focus. Anyway, quick reminder, this is a handicap tournament. It's a Moneyball handicap tournament. And this first match, Fast Eddie is top of the HUD on the left-hand side. He's getting the 8 ball. Good evening to Cobra. And welcome to anybody else that I've missed. Oh, good evening to Jose. So, Fast Eddie's getting the 8 ball, and that is a good handicap. Because, especially in the first rack, because the 8 ball is smack right in the middle of the table at the head of the pack. But he's got to get in the 2. Now, there's his ad sending me a PM while I'm streaming. He should know that. He should know that's a daft move. I think he just realised that, or he did it to annoy me, one of the two. Well, Eddie's got himself down on the 2, but he's gone to that no man's land 2 square position. Now, is he going to hit the 8? Yes, he is. Which has actually done him a favour. Now, can he go forward? No, he's dead straight. He doesn't want to be trying to pinch anything here. And the problem with this shot is he might run into the 4 off the short rail because he is dead straight. He might try and pinch a slight angle, but he can't be too greedy. In fact, he's drawing back off it. The safest move. Well, the good news is, and this is very good news for me, is that when I got into work today, bear in mind I've had 2 days off. I always go back on Friday morning after my 2 days on Wednesday and Thursday. And I did have the suspicion that I was off in the first week of February or so. Well, it's actually the second week. And tomorrow morning I've got a short shift. I'm in until 9:45 tomorrow morning. And then that is me off. And I'm not back to work until a week on Monday. So thank God for that, I'll tell you. And I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. Absolutely bugger all. That is what I'm going to be doing. Well, I will be watching. I will be watching that match because that match that you're playing Moz in has. To see how long any of the two of you can stay focused and actually get a run of 10. But Tom, I told you when I was talking last week. Was it Friday night last week that Tommy got a run of 48, and believe me, a run of 48 with these settings is difficult to get to. You know, it is going to be tough. And I think it was Bedhead said that the high run in the last straight pool big tournament that they did, whenever that was, and it was set in normal tournament pockets, the highest run during the whole tournament was 72. So I don't think we should expect a great deal out of the rest of this. And that's why it's a disappointment to me. There's the excitement isn't there. I mean, a match in a race to 200 is just tip tap, bang bang, bop bop, and it's only worth watching once either player gets to 150, because you know there's not going to be a great long run, and it's highly unlikely there's going to be. You know, that's just, again, I said it, and I'll say it again, you know, it just spoiled the whole tournament for me, because that's what the excitement and the enjoyment is watching you guys trying your hardest to string balls together and to use that benefit of the more generous pockets. That was Steve's whole idea. And you know, I might sound like a broken record, but it goes back on what his whole idea was, and it's just ruined the tournament. All it's done is made it a more even chance for the contenders. That's all it's done. Because, and I said, it's brought players like Stubb into contention now, because Stubb is well capable of getting, you know, 20, 30 in visits, and that's enough to keep you in front. And then all you need to do is close the back door and stop your opponent getting anything, and then getting another maybe 15, 20. That's the way it's going to be. That's the pattern it's going to be. It just makes it more of it gives more people more chance in the tournament, because it is more difficult for everybody. But it still puts emphasis on getting that cue ball in the right spot, getting to those last 2 balls, and it still will mean that the cream will generally float to the top anyway. But as a spectacle, it's lost all its interest for me. So, with all that ranting and raving again, Spectre Dawn won the first rack. I do not know how he won it, because I was too busy reading the chat. Well, Fast Eddie's got lucky there, because he should have tried to take evasive action there to stop running into that ball. But he's ended up getting lucky, and that's going to scratch. So now, with ball in hand, and then an angle to get up for the 3 ball, he should be out. 3 ball smack bang in the middle of the table. Now, if he doesn't get the right angle on this, it could all go pear-shaped straight away here. That'll do. He can just roll to the rail. And again, needs an angle though. He doesn't want to be nailed to the rail. And this is the only way this is going to go wrong, is hooking himself behind the 9. Just make sure you go far enough to the right. Oh, that might come back into the 9. No, he's held the line. Oh, he might be too straight again. Right, so now, ideally, he just wants to be as straight as he can in the 7, and that's perfect. And now again, from that side of the table, whether he be here with the cue ball or there with the cue ball, so he's here, so he can go forward and come down to the side pocket, avoiding the scratch. He's underhit that slightly. Oh, mind you, again, immediately I've forgotten about the handicap. Well, Christian hasn't shown up by the look of it. Houdini's gone through it by forfeit. I had an old guy, I'll tell you this one. I had an old guy at work today, and he was in his electric wheelchair, and he was over at the bread, and he picked out a loaf and he shouted me over, and he said, this is out of date, this loaf of bread. And I said, oh, what's the problem? Let's have a look. He said, it's got the 8th on it. Oh, that's going to head to scratch. Well, there's a disaster and another gift of a chance for Fast Eddie. He said it's out of date. It's the 8th, and I said I don't think it's the 8th. He said today's the 9th. I says no, I think you're wrong. And he brings his phone and he shows me his phone. So I'm looking over his shoulder at his phone display, and it said 9:57 on it. I said, that's the time. And I said, you silly old bugger, under my breath to myself. I said, that's the 9th. That's the clock you're showing me. That's not the date. Today's only the 4th. Mumble, mumble, mumble. Off he went. Not an apology. Oh, sorry, my mistake. No, nothing. Just buggered off. With his tail between his legs. Oh, showing me his phone, showing me the time, thinking that's the date. And then I had a guy the other day, I don't know whether I seem to attract these people. I had a guy the other day, and he says to me, and he wasn't Scottish. That's going to scratch as well. Oh, that's an even bigger disaster for Fast Eddie, because this cue ball is running way too loose. And that's Eddie's problem straight away. The cue ball's getting run too loose. It needs to be brought under better control. And this guy says to me, and again, he was, obviously maybe I stayed in Scotland for years, but he had a foreign accent. I don't know where it was, whether he was Polish or something. And he says to me, and all he said was Chinese vinaga. And I'm going, what the hell's Chinese vinaga? And I couldn't find. And I said, pardon? Vinaga? I'm scratching my head. Now, just by sheer coincidence, I happened to be standing at the shelves where the Japanese section was, you know, with seaweed and all that stuff. And I happened to glance to the right of the Japanese stuff, and there's the Chinese bit. And of course, he wanted rice vinegar. I said, you said vinaga is vinegar. I said, no wonder I didn't have a bloody clue you're wanting vinaga. That's what he wanted, you know. I seem to attract them all. They all seem to just come to me. I don't know what it is about me, but I'm a magnet for people you want to avoid. Well, Eddie should be in front. In fact, he probably should be 3-0 in front, by all accounts. But he's found himself 2-1 down. Well, good kick from Spectre Dawn. And he's on the 2, and the 3 ball goes past the 9. It certainly doesn't go past the 5, and whatever that ball is, the 4. No, we were talking about it last week that, well, that's not probably the best positional shot, but it'll do as far as getting on the 3's concerned, and obviously the 4 goes. Hugh, any idea where... What, Chicago? Now, what's this leading up to? Chicago is in the state of Illinois, in the United States, if you want a straight answer. Chicago, the group. Chicago. Any idea where Chicago is? No, I haven't got a clue where Chicago is. Right, what's the punchline? I'm waiting on it. You know what was actually... I don't know, you're going over my head with this, Mark. You need to explain it in more simple detail for a thick Scotsman like me. I think I haven't answered you correctly for you to give us the punchline. Yeah, it's certainly not working for me because it has gone over my head. Right, Fast Eddie with the 8 ball to win the rack. I remembered that time. Yeah, what I was going to do tonight was I was going to start actually by running 2 games at the same time because I can do that with Gamecaster. And I was going to start with Kartcraft. Because I was messing about with it yesterday and tweaking my steering wheel a little bit. And I was racing the AI yesterday, and I naturally, because I haven't done any serious practicing in it, I went onto a track which was mostly a sort of oval circuit, but it's an oval circuit with walls. So you make one wrong move, bang, you're into a wall. There's a couple of bends, couple of corners in it, and I was racing AI, 15 laps I think it was, no sorry 20 laps, but there was 14 other AI drivers in it, and it's set to medium standard for the drive. The first corner went into, bang, straight into the wall, zoom, they were gone, and within the next 5 minutes I was lapped. And then once I found my feet, once I found the grip in the corners and stuff, I started overtaking the guys that had just overtook me. I actually finished. I was surprised because I thought it was dead last, but I finished 10th out of 15, which was quite surprising. I was going to start by doing that tonight and then jumping over to VP4, but I didn't have time. To go and get something to eat, but I'll tell you, it is really hotting up, that game. There are about half a dozen circuits in it now, and there is an indoor circuit, which is it's actually called the hangar because it's set in an aircraft hangar. There's a big aeroplane in it, and it is a good circuit. The only thing with the game is, even though it's released to the public, is that it's still not got proper multiplayer from the point of view that you can set your own lobby. You could set it as private or open. It doesn't have that control yet, even though the game is now fully available to the public. You still have to click on a race when it's about to start. You know, they're listed by time. They start every 15 minutes. And once you click, presumably you're then in the race. But it's not a race. It's actually only a practice. So you're still not really racing everybody. You know, it's not a, head-on battle. Until they do that, it doesn't really appeal to me as far as that goes. Once they bring proper lobbies in, set your own room, then it'll be good. And I tell you, you'll take my word for it, you have some brilliant laughs in the kart racing, and it really is brutal. Anybody that likes driving games, and you've got a wheel, take my word for it, try it out. It is really brutal. You know, one wrong flick with a wheel into a corner, you're gone. You can feel the back end going, all sorts with the physics. And even on the website for Kartcraft, there's a multi-champion who says it's the best simulation that he's tried. He's a kart racer himself, and it is pretty damn good. But it's like one of the wee niche games. If you've never, I mean, I'm not a racer as far as cars go because I hate them and I'm crap. But the kart racing I really enjoy. Well, it's a tough ask, Craig, in this tournament. Depends what level you play at if you play in real life, but you've got to use your head and use your handicap. You'll hear me talking about that plenty of times, how players don't think about what they're doing. But you can learn the hard way. You'll get a few heavy beatings, but you won't be an overnight success at this game. And I'm talking about people that have been playing it for 20 years. Oh, Kartcraft's brilliant. I love it as far as that goes. I mean, even set the AI to medium. You don't. I mean, setting them to, full professional, they'll just gub you all the time because you're trying to find your way around the circuits and get used to it. I just don't have enough time to invest the time that I would love to do to get better at it and get real good practice in the circuits. But set the AI to medium and you'll have a bloody good laugh. And that's just the AI. And set it to 14 AI. You don't want 20 odd in the track. You want like 14 AI. And it is really, really exciting and tense. And, you can hear them coming up to your back end. They don't try and cut you up on the inside. If there's room, they'll go for it. The AI are pretty good as far as that goes. So we're all square, 3 racks all. And I think that was dry. Dry and no shot for Fast Eddie, unless he fancies a really tight jump over the 6. I think the push out would be the more sensible shot, and he could push out to the right top corner up there. I don't think the 1 ball passes the 4. He could push up there. The problem with that shot, though, again, is you could find a way to get behind that 2 ball or something like that. Yeah, anybody ever thinking about getting Kartcraft, get it on my recommendation. If you like, and I'll tell you, if you want the best fun you'll have racing, I can guarantee you'll have a laugh playing that game. And it is, this. We're not talking Mario Kart. I mean, this is serious. Well, how's Spectre Dawn going to deal with the 3 ball? Again, up the narrow side to have a shot. Now, again, Well, he may well run into the 6 ball. He looks as if he's going right English to avoid the 6. Get into the gap. A nice angle on the 4 and not on the rail with the cue ball. So he's got loads of room to find a way to get down onto this 5. The one thing I'd be doing is lots of bottom so I could use the spin and come off that far rail and then hope you miss the 9 ball. Or if you do, you've still got a shot in the 5. No, that's a cartoon character, isn't it? I haven't. Yeah, he's just playing it safe. Sensible thing to do again. I don't know what price Kartcraft is now, but it was at a really low price on Steam because they kept warning you to buy it before it goes public, before it came out of beta, because then it was going to go to the normal price. I've had the game for years. I've been keeping an eye on that game for more than 7 years since it was in development. So Spectre Dawn, provided you can just drop on the 8, should be 1 in front again. I've never seen that Garfield cartoon character. I've never seen the program or anything like that. Well, €7 is a bargain. If that's the price it is now and anybody's thinking about it, get it bought and get your wheel connected up and go and have a bash at it. You know, you will not be an overnight success in that either. I can rest assured that I can confirm that you will have to put an effort into that game. Garfield will be about £2. I'm sure it was at a bargain. It's in the bargain basement prices, because I think it's a few years old. That is it not? Well, you've got. I mean, see if you're ever going to be racing in Kartcraft, you've got to have a bunch of yous all on the mics, because that way you can rip the piss out of one another and have all sorts of abuse. I keep saying, I'm going on and on and on about it. It's the best fun I ever had was on Gran Turismo, the kart racing. I've never laughed so much in my life in a game. And had really intense racing. That was the whole point of the thing. Now, where's this cue ball ending up, Eddie? He might be dead in the water here. Let's have a look. And then again, he might not be. He's okay. And Chimpy's gone through against Sarah, 7 racks to 3. So well, there you go. That's what happens. You have to move that cue ball. And these pockets don't give you anything. And Spectre Dawn maybe has enough room. Let's have a look. He might have enough room. Maybe not. For any latecomers, we're not here for Friday Night 9 Ball this week. I hasten to point that out. We are here for, we are here for a match in the VP4 World Straight Pool Championship, which is due to start in half an hour's time, between Mr. Fox and Bedhead. Well, not a lot to do with the cue ball other than not dropping behind the 7, just keeping it in the table. That's the worst franchise. A game that had all the possibilities, and the kart racing in it was great as well. Not Forza, I'm mixing it up. What was that other game? I'm mixing up Forza. That was the one I had. I had the first version of it. I can't remember what it's called now. But they brought out the version 3 a while back now. I downloaded it and tried it, and it was absolute garbage. It went arcadey. As soon as it goes arcadey. Project Cars, that's the one. I had the first Project Cars. The karts on it were brilliant. And then I never get Project Cars 2, and then I tried Project Cars 3, and I thought, this has just gone down the toilet. And that's the thing, they're making games. They're making games for consoles now, where obviously they're designed to be using controllers, and to get the best enjoyment out of most driving games, you're far better off with a wheel. That's where you can get the best control over your movements and more accurate movements with a steering wheel. So 4 racks all. And again, Spectre Dawn for the second time in the match has kicked in. Now, does the 2-ball go? Yes, it does. Well, Bankster has gone through comfortably against Travelling TT. 7-zip. Well, how long ago was Gran Turismo? Was it Gran Turismo 4 or 5? Gran Turismo 5. How long ago was it out? Because I bought the steering wheel for that game, because the steering wheel has got the Gran Turismo logo in it, the Driving Force GT. It was made specifically to be launched along with Gran Turismo, and that's when I bought this wheel. So that shows you how old this wheel is I've got. And it's still working, you know, apart from the fact that the gear stick is dodgy and I have to do an auto when I'm doing Euro Truck. It's not reliable, and a couple of the buttons are a bit dodgy now, but that's just wear and tear, for goodness me. I mean, it has been well worn, this steering wheel. The force feedback still works great though. Well, I've had this wheel 12 years, and it's been used very regularly when Gran Turismo 5 was still alive. It got used every day for hours on end, and then Euro Truck was released in 2013, I think it was, and it's been used in it all the time. So Spectre Dawn, one in front. Spectre Dawn with a dry break again now. Is Eddie looking for a shot here when he should be running for cover? Again, if you play a push out up the table, the problem is you're asking to be locked in behind one of those balls one way or another. That's a good lucky break there. The only problem is I don't think you can see the two, can he? Yes, he can. I'll probably do something when I'm off next week on Euro Truck. But I'm looking to find a good... I actually just finished a good trip, which quite a lot of it was off-road. It was on a dirt track. Where was I going to again? Georgetown, and was it Guyana, which is one of the countries north of Brazil on the South America map. So I'm usually looking to find a good trip in it. Semi-pro goes through, Larry goes through. Semi-pro against Stefan, 7-5. Larry against John Boo, 7-4. And Fast Eddie looking to square the match. Well, I would think you'd have to talk to an HGV driver, a heavy goods vehicle driver, or a truck driver to see what terminology they use. There's a cue ball going, Spectre Dawn. Oh, he's just stayed alive. I saw on some guy's website the other day, I don't know whether that was a bit of a wind-up. I can't remember how I stumbled across his site, but he's got a picture of Euro Truck 3. And I've not read anything about Euro Truck 3. I mean, there's no signs that Euro Truck 2 is coming to an end because it's got an extremely active mod community. And I've got a number of mod maps installed on Euro Truck and a big map combo that I've got installed that covers the whole of South America and right over to China now with the map extensions that are in it. You could drive from the extreme east of China into Tajikistan and then Iran, Iraq, and then right across part of Russia into the Ukraine, into Poland, Germany, and into France. Catch a ferry from Calais to Dover, and then from Dover get a ferry that takes you to Paranagua, which might be, I'm not sure whether that's in Brazil, but then you could cover right across South America, right down to the southern tip, and that would be like, what, in terms of truck driving, it'd be about 7,000 miles and probably take you about 9 hours if you were going to stream that, plus the fact I'd fall asleep doing it. My stamina isn't the same as it used to be for these long trips. Well, this is going to be a battle to the death, I think, this match. Although Spectre Dawn has got first shout to go over the line. Leads by 6 racks to 5. With the break, 2 ball goes in. And if the cue ball holds up, the 1 is dead on. Now, how's that 6 ball? No, that is in real life. What you've got to remember is that the map is a 1 to 19 scale in terms of distance. The whole map combo that I've got installed is a 1 to 19 scale, but I mean, to drive 1,500 miles in the game, depending on what road you're on, can take you a couple of hours. So a 7,000 mile trip, a fair chunk of it's the ferry to South America, but from the north of this map in South America to the southern tip is at least 5,000 miles or more. And that would, believe me, take you hours and hours. I did do I did a stream on a bus where I went up the Trans-American Highway, which goes right up from, this South America, right up the east coast, across the Atacama Desert, as far north as the map would go. I did that a while back, but I think I started from Quailon, which is nowhere near the extreme southern tip, and that took hours to do that in a bus. And I did once do a trip years ago in Eurotruck, which I had to split into 2 videos, which took over 8 hours, and that was from deep into Russia up to Oban in Scotland. I think that video is on YouTube if you're bored. And it shows you how really tired I was getting at the end of it, because I think I crashed the truck about 5 times when I got to the UK. Now, what's happened to Liddell? He hasn't shown up against Sarah P, or he's quit before the end of the match, one of the two. And Spectre Dawn is going to march on. Good evening to Semi-Pro. Good evening to Slim. I never even noticed Slim there. Mario Kart is only on the Nintendo, whatever it is now. They're up to like version 8 or 9 now, I think. And I had that when I had Mario Kart on the SNES, I think it was. It was brilliant. It was a good game. But it's nothing like Kartcraft. Right, so where we are, we're 20 minutes away. So that first match took 40 minutes. Let's have a quick look at the bracket. Set this timer. Right, where have we got to now? In fact, I'm in the wrong bracket. I'm still in the straight pool one. Right, that's better. Let's enlarge that as big as I can get. Houdini's now playing Larry. Houdini's getting 7 and out, and Houdini's 1-0 up. And Semi-Pro is about to play Spectre Dawn. Champion Sergeresh 1 rack all. Bankster's waiting on DJ Redo and Lard. And Lard, who is getting 7 and out, is 6-3 up against DJ Redo. So, no prizes for guessing where we're going. If I can find it, that is. And if I can get into the room. Yeah, it is. It's version 8, isn't it? So, we're just waiting on Spectre Dawn arriving. This might be a... Semi-Pro might be getting the 8 ball here, I would think. We'll soon find out. So, not that I'm that interested in politics, but I thinking to myself the other day when this, in case none of some of you haven't heard, Boris Johnson's made a complete arse of himself, the British Prime Minister, and has been doing so for the last number of weeks, with all these leaked stories that have come out about these so-called drinks parties that's been going on in Downing Street all the way through the pandemic, when his own government set the laws and the restrictions that people should have in their households, shutting businesses down, all of that crap going on. And I said that once this investigation gets fully released, prior to that happening, once these ministers get their hands on it first to read the report, you'll find some of them jumping ship and going before they're pushed. So I don't know how many have gone, but there's at least 3-4 resignations from his Downing Street residence, and these are people that will be probably implicated in one way or another, and they're basically going before they're pushed. Boris Johnson has to be seen to be proactive. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's stupid. And he's refusing to resign. Well, the one thing that's certainty in politics is that for them that vote, they will deal with him sooner or later. The guy's a complete numpty. Well, again, that's the type of people that end up in government. University halfwits. They're supposed to be the brainiest people for the job. But, when he can't organise them that surround him to behave properly and adhere to the rules and the laws that they set themselves, and then these stories leak out one way or another, as they always do, then he doesn't deserve to be a head of state. He's supposed to be, well, not a head of state, that's the Queen, but he's supposed to be a representative of the country and he can't bloody organise his own house. Anyway, enough of that crap. First rack, and as I predicted that Semi-Pro may be getting the 8 ball, and he is. We'll just think over the piece, not just in the last couple of days, but, you know, how many of his close advisors have resigned or been sacked one way or the other. You know, they're all jumping ship. The problem in this country is that the alternative to the Tories is the Labour Party, and again, you've just got to take things with a pinch of salt. You know, Keir Starmer is just going to, you know, out to score points anyway, because that's what politics is. You know, if somebody puts a foot wrong, we'll jump on it and milk it for as much as they can. If you've seen politics long enough in this country, that's what happens. It's probably no different in the States. But he's the only alternative, really, to Boris Johnson. So if they have a general election, I still think he's going to be hard pushed to be the next Prime Minister himself. Oh, Scotland will be bankrupt before then, with all of these fuel rises and everything that's to come, and everybody will be living in the street. You know. Aye, that match isn't due to start for another 12 minutes, Slim. So Semi-Pro is off and running with the first rack. Tried a bit of an ambitious cut in the 2, I think. Oh, the yawning started already. Now, it's going to be a little stun across just to drop in enough room to get the 6. And then, of course, just get yourself down the bottom half of the table where we are for the 7. As long as you go far enough. So, 1 rack all. And Lard has beaten DJ Readout 7 racks to 4. So ball in the break, 6 ball has gone. This is going to be the first problem shot of this visit. Avoiding that 8 ball if he can, and I think he possibly can, but he's got to get into a very tight area to get into this 2 ball. Well, by hook or by crook, he's got there. Little dink in the 2, just come past the 5 ball. That's what you class as a little dink on the two. That shot there, for anybody who wants to use that as a reference point. Well, what's that, Christian? And John Boo. John Boo marches on in the one loss side. 4 racks to 1. Inspector Don seems to be in a similar mood to his most Friday night 9 balls, not giving much away and finding a way out on a very regular basis. And as I've said before, it doesn't matter what handicap you get. If you ain't at the table, you ain't going to get a shot at the 8 ball. Quick cough, hang on. So we are 8 minutes away from tonight's match, the one we've been waiting on to see. Oh, I was watching a programme this morning when I got up for work, and it was one of these programmes on, I can't remember what channel it is on the telly, but it was basically clips of people doing dangerous things, right? You know, like a guy who he's a paraglider, so basically he climbs up the top of a mountain somewhere and then just throws himself off it. And well, with that one, he went up with a mate to however many thousand feet. I think he was 20 odd thousand feet up, which means that the air's already thin, and his mate that was with him bottled out. He thought it was too dangerous, but the other guy did it, and he jumped off the mountain, and his target was a what do you call it? A glacier. You could see it running through the valley. So anyway, to cut a long story short, he jumped off and was successful. But there was another guy who was one of these free climbers, right? Where they basically do illegal things like go onto buildings and things and climb buildings. Oh, gee, I had to switch it off. I actually was getting vertigo watching this guy. He was on a building, and there was obviously somebody else with him because they had a camera on him, and he's hanging out on a metal bar. I don't know whether it was scaffolding that was in the building, but he was hanging on. He was just hanging with his 2 arms on the metal bar, and he was about, I don't know how many feet off the ground on this building, but it looked like 700 or 800 feet, this skyscraper. And I had to switch it off. I was feeling physically sick and scared watching him hanging off this bloody building. Oh God, I mean, I would never ever do that for kicks. But this guy was doing it and climbing up buildings and hanging off. Oh no. That's the weirdest I've ever felt watching something like that. Oh, it was just I don't know whether it was a camera angle, but watching him hanging, and then he takes one hand off and he's hanging with one hand. No, that was when I switched it over. I couldn't watch any more of it. I think Spectre Dawn has got lucky. He certainly has. Yeah, I like watching daft programmes like that as well, but it's the first time I've ever had to switch one over because I was feeling ill. I like watching those fail videos as well. They're hilarious. People cracking their nuts on escalators and things, and guys on skateboards trying to jump off steps and breaking their shins when they land and all that. I love watching people getting hurt. Yeah, I've got no problem with that. I like seeing people inflicting pain on themselves when they know what's going to happen. That's the dumb thing about it. They're so stupid. Well, semi-pro is going to have to produce the goods if he's going to survive on this winner's side. But like I say, if you don't get a real shot at it, you could have 5 and out if you don't get a sniff at them. You ain't going to get anything. But the way this match is going, it might be over before 8 o'clock. And that's only, 3.5 minutes away. I expect Dawn's overjuiced that, so it'll be the bank on the 4 ball unless he wants to run for cover somewhere. But I don't think he's got much intention of doing that. He's going to have to bail out this time, I think. Yep, going to have to jump this one. Loads of room, but will he be able to miss the 9 ball and get a shot in the 6? And Fast Eddie survives. He's beaten Stefan 4-0, one loss side. And like I said, it was all about how you end up getting in the 6. Now, he can still go for the bank in this 6 ball as well. I don't think there'll be much doubt in it. And this time, he hasn't picked a line, and we've seen how these balls now straighten. Well, if I tell the truth, Stub, you've never listened to me yet. You've never taken my advice. So Semi-Pro rescues the situation there. Spectre Dawn gave him the chance with that failed bank. And now he needs a ball and a shot. And the 2 ball's going to go in as well, but I don't think he's had much of a shot in the 1. Well, if Semi's going to push out, it looks as if he's going to go for the edge of this. This is going to be a tough one to stay in the table, and he's not even hit the 1. He might have been better thinking a wee bit more as to an alternative there. Could have kicked at it. Could have pushed. I think he'll be back across the table for the 6 ball in the same pocket. The angle's perfect. Yeah, Stubbs keeping quiet about that one. Stubbs always begging people to get. He's always begging people to get into the high rollers thing, and Slim took him out. Slim done him, and Stubb disappeared. Not a word out of him. He's gone all quiet. Right, so I'm afraid your time's up, Semi-Pro Inspector Don. We'll see this 9 ball going in. So Semi-Pro's got it all to do, trailing by 5 racks to 2. And we will leave the room. And we will head in for the main event of the evening, provided we can get in, and that is. Bedhead is in. So they'll lag for the break, and whoever wins the lag will put the opponent into break, as you always do in straight pool. Race to 200. Well, that looks a bit on the heavy side, in fact. Yeah. So Mr. Fox is going to put Bedhead in. And let's see if the standards of the tournament go up to another level in this match. The target for the high run at the moment is still 48. And Bedhead, well, let's just say he hasn't really worked on a break, because that didn't work. So Mr. Fox has first opportunity to certainly get 2 or 3 in the board, but unless he gets good on that 1 ball, and he's not got the angle to do that from here, but the 1 ball would be the break ball to open that pack, or the 10 if he can get top side, but it's a narrow window to go on that. So immediately we've got a tight pack and not many opportunities to open it up. Well, there you go. If that was on the normal pockets, that would have been in, but it don't happen in this setup. So the first visit is only 2. I just hope to God it's not going to be like that for 2.5 hours. I don't think I could stand it. Now Bedhead, is he going to go blasting around the table to try and get a breakout, or is he trying to get nice in the 10? Well, I think that was the idea that he had. He was trying to check the cue ball. If he'd missed the 3, he might have had a chance to actually have a line on that 10 ball. But it's a very, very narrow window to get into the pot angle on that 10. So I think all he can do is run for cover here. Well, he looks as if, is he cutting this 3? Surely not. Nah, he's got to be playing a safety. You've not won anything in VP4, Stubb. Don't kid yourself. And the clocks are ticking. Well, straight away we're into a tactical battle here. And of course, the one thing you have to keep doing when you're playing this game is keep looking at the pack. Before you commit yourself to do anything, have a look at the pack. you're looking for possibilities. And of course also, when you play a safe off the pack, you have to be hoping you're not setting something up. So that's going to be a point away. So Bedhead goes back to 0. Now if it's 3 fouls, it's 18 points in total that you give away. Well, you didn't actually play Stub to lose anyway. You failed to show, you failed to set the match, and you paid the price. If we're going to go over the same ground again, and if it's going to be all about you, I'm going to boot you. You're a thing of the past, Stub. Everybody knows that except you. Well, you know what I keep saying with straight pull as well, is that distance is very often a big advantage in your safety. But now the opportunities for that have more or less gone because we've got a ball at one end and a ball at another end of the table. Oh dear, so you're sending me to sleep, Stub, you're boring me. Well, the longer this goes on, suddenly 200 points seems a long, long way away. Again, while they're tapping around, just have a little look at the pack. Nothing there at all. Well, the good idea to maybe at some point to try and change the game is to get these balls back down the bottom end of the table. But Mr. Fox's cut, whatever it was at the 13. And this is not a great angle to get into the pack because he's going to squat behind the pack, although he's going to try his damnedest to do something or catch something, or has he spotted something, because I don't think there is anything. And I don't think the pack moved. So just running to the top rail now. As soon as he plays this shot, Bedhead straight away should be looking for dead weight to that top rail. I mean, the 10 ball doesn't go, so he should be looking to get distance. And again, a lot of the players refuse that option. You see there, he's made a mistake. You know, the safety's no good, although he's not going to leave Mr. Fox a lot on. But I think you should be trying to force your opponent to be playing off the pack from down here. That's a far more difficult shot to get right than it is to just be tapping in and around behind the pack. And if anything, when Mr. Fox pots this 10 ball, he's going to be the one that's going to be forced himself to try and do something. Again, he's trying to create a miracle shot and somehow get near the pack. But all he can do is punch the 6 and lock the cue ball. That's why he's called the safety. Because if the 6 ball banks, then he's still okay. And now, Bedhead. Well, he doesn't necessarily have to touch a rail. He'll lose a point and he'll go to a minus, but it's far better doing that than it is to be giving away 30 odd points. Now again, this might be a slam to try and run the cue ball, but there's an awful lot of travelling to go, a lot of distance, and not a lot of pace in the cue ball, you would think, by the time it gets to the pack, to do a great deal of damage, even if he can find a line to get there. Well, he's not going to be doing that, he's just playing the bank. I think that's what he's called. Into a quick drink. Well, I think even already at this early stage in the match, we're waiting with bated breath to see if somebody can get off to some sort of start to try and put something together. Now, once again, with that pack being rattled there, you've got to have a quick look to see if anything has nudged into a favourable position. And not really. But that little nudge that moved to 14 there was just threatening to put that into some sort of combo, but it's still nowhere near it. And this is where it gets dicey. When you're tip-tapping off the pack, it is very easy to leave some sort of combo. And now, if you look at that 4 and the 8 ball and a 1, that is a combo. In fact, that 11 is a combo as well. Look at how things have suddenly changed. Well, to me, the 11's a combo and the 4 may well have been a combo, but Bedhead's, I presume, looked at it and decided against it. Well, there should be admins in YouTube. I can't remember who they are, but they can deal with problem customers on my behalf. Now, finally, somebody's gone for length. Now, the thing is that the 9 onto the 1 would be a very aggressive shot to try and chip that 4 ball. In fact, the 4 ball does go past the 11, but the 11 does go because it was almost set as well. And it has gone. And, well, I don't know what. In fact, I wasn't paying attention to see what was called, but Bedhead has miscalled it. So he obviously wasn't playing the combo. And Mr. Fox, well, that's a cardinal sin straight away. A fairly straight in 7 ball, and he's rattled it. And the cue ball's gone nowhere because I think he was trying to get into the balls for some reason. And in the end, I think he's got lucky because I don't think he's left very much here for Bedhead. That 7 ball is tight to the rail, pretty much. In fact, it's frozen to the rail. But even this shot here that Bedhead's got is not easy to find a safe. Trying to use the bunch of balls for cover. Well, Mr. Fox, I think, will take the bait. He'll push the 4 onto the 7. Yeah, I was too busy rumbling around the pack there looking at the combos to see what he actually called or what he played. I thought he had played the 11 there. I thought he might have went for the other combo. It looked more ambitious, but it looked pretty much dead set to me. So, Mr. Fox with a slender lead of 7 points, about to go to 8, but we do have a very strong candidate for a break ball, that 1 ball, but he has to take care of everything else around it, and that's a challenge with straight pull. Dead straight. Well, he got lucky there in the sense that he never hit the 1 ball. And he's, you know, if he's committed to that 1 ball, he has to find a way to take care of the 9. And there's a possibility he could do that if he can drop this 14 in and just drop around the corner for the 9. But if he's trying to draw off it, well, he did avoid the 1. The 1 still remains there. And Bedhead can drop the 15 into the side. He may well be enticed into taking this combo first though, because that has to be dealt with. And he's not got any great opportunities to get in with it. And this is why he's taking the combo first. Because that way he can run through and be on the 15 at worst. In fact, he's stunned it dead. So now he's in a bit in no man's land and would like to take the 1, but doesn't want to. He's looking to hold on to that 1 ball. The other issue now is getting good on the 1. So he has to either go behind the 11, but up the table with an angle to come out for the 1, or come around here for the 11. And he's given himself a good chance to get that decent line in the 1, so he wants to be somewhere round about this area if he can. That would be ideal, to have a good solid hit in the pack and bring that cue ball back the way slightly. But he's gone way too heavy. Now, with last year's setup, these were not quite as big a challenge. There were still some of them missed, but they're tougher on this setup because these balls are going to go all over the place. Well, that's a good shot, and a couple of bonus balls as well there for Bedhead. 3 balls in the 1 pot, but the called ball is the important one. It went into the pocket that he played it in, and anything else that goes in still counts. And now he's got a good opportunity here to get into a rhythm. Now straight away, all focus would be on that ball. If he can help it, he avoids that at all costs, because that's a perfect break ball again, or as good as it would be. If he has to bail out on something, he's got that 1. He's got the 12, and all of these ones generally you'd be going to the side rail to come into the pack. But he could also at a push use one of the bottom balls on the bottom rail, but what you don't want to be doing is cutting a ball and get into the pack when it's a straight back pack, because that causes problems. You've got to try and hit a corner to loosen things and stop the cue ball going dead into the back of the pack when you play from the bottom rail. Well, straight pull was one of the ones where, like Cowboy, where the ratings were all mucked up and players were getting to silly numbers. So Bedhead looks as if he's set his heart on this 5 ball. The run going, so the 9 ball's a good shot to get up and down the table to deal with the problems in the bottom rail here. But again, he has to make sure, and he's got loads of room to avoid the 5. And the weight looks good. Now, does he want to trifle with that 4 ball? Because he can pot the 13. He could just nudge the 4, and he's not interested. But the difficulty now is with these balls, and especially the last ball, is getting good on that 5. Now he can go forward with the cut and come that way. He could jab it in and come back this way, but he's got to get into that area. He might be going too straight. No, I think he's going to be okay. This has got to be nice and firm. Now, if he draws into the top two balls, the 15 and the 3, cue ball wouldn't be moving too far, which it hasn't done. And now the run can continue. Now, immediately we're looking at what the possible break ball would be, and there's not an obvious one yet. Things may well change. And while he's studying that, I'm going to be back in a minute. I'm going to put the heating off. It's too warm. Well, I'm back. And Bedhead's run looks as if it ended on 21. What did he do? Did he miss a pot or miss shape? Oh, missed a 4. Oh, well. No, it doesn't look as if he has done. I think he's got well away with that. The problem now is Mr. Fox trying to find some sort of safety. I don't think this is the wisest move he's ever going to play if he's calling a combo. I mean, there's got to be a shot there where you can just lose a point and push the cue ball onto a ball and still have cover. This is a bit brave. Yeah, that's just asking for trouble doing that, because you've just conceded 21 points. How many more is going to get added from doing that? I mean, okay, it's unlucky that he was left nothing, but take the hit with a point rather than taking something far too ambitious, and you're just leaving all of these balls for Bedhead when you could have easily prevented him getting them by thinking and looking for where you could just push a ball and lock the cue ball and try and leave nothing. I must admit, I would have needed another few minutes looking at those balls and thinking about where I can go that's going to leave Bedhead the least simplest of chances to pot a ball. But, you have to look at all the alternatives rather than taking on an ambitious combo, because this is just playing straight into Bedhead's hands here. This is just help yourself. But again, we have to be thinking about where the break ball is. The 1 ball obviously is in the pack, so that's not going to count. 6 ball at the back of the pack is a strong candidate, because there's nothing else really adjacent. The 9 ball at a push would be another choice. So there's a decision to be made. Whether he's made that yet, I don't know. he could be taking the 10 and then the 9. It looks as if he's heading up table though. So the important shot is approaching, which is the thing about every rack of straight pull to keep runs going. You've got to be clear in your mind where you're going and stick to that plan. So Bedhead's still got a couple of choices here yet. But that, I'm afraid, ain't going to be it. He's going to have to try and squeeze this 15 in. I think he's just got enough room to cheat the pocket. Yep. Well, as long as he leaves the angle on the 9, he could have done with a wee bit more. He's just got to punch this a wee bit. Try and get square in the 6. He's left it a wee bit short. He would have liked to have been parallel with that 6 ball. Now, this is a danger shot off the back of this pack. It could end up stone dead. He's got to make sure he hits it, but leaving that awkward cut, he's missed the 6. So now, Mr. Fox has a chance to get on the board and get running here. And let us see some of this 2,951 rating come through. Well, obvious shot there's a 3 ball. That can get him started. Get him into the middle of the table. Now again, there's sort of, well, there's really one candidate for a break ball at the moment, but it's a bit tight to the pack, the 5 ball. So things might be moving somewhere along the line. No. Mind you, last night when we were in, I was in VP4, I popped in. When I went into the other place, there was 90 people. That was fairly early in the evening, when we only had I think it was 30 odd or 40. There was 90 odd in the other place. So Mr. Fox has a problem. That 5 ball remains where it is for the time being, but it is extremely tight to the pack. And again, that narrows down your options to get good on the 5. You've got a very narrow window to get good on that 5 ball as a break ball, and that's a better shot because that's now nudged the 5 into play effectively. No, I think Hairpig's actually aged about 10 years, and I think he'll confirm that. Well, I think he enjoyed it because he won it, but I think it was a mild form of torture. Oh dear. Well, I think Mr. Fox will be throwing that trackball mouse back into the box and getting a refund. Because he's blowed it there straight away. Oh, did you beat Stubbs' high run? Oh, that wasn't tough, was it? That wasn't actually a big ask. And all of a sudden, 48 seems a big target, doesn't it? Well, Bedhead's just going to be just gradually increasing his distance away from Mr. Fox. I mean, he had a wide open table there, and he's made a complete hash of his visit. And again, there's nothing more annoying knowing that all of these balls are yours. And he's even, don't forget, Mr. Fox created the break ball. And it's now a break ball for Bedhead. Now, he's got to watch how he comes off this pack here, because he's at the head of the pack. Doesn't want to have an awful lot of action. And another bonus ball as well. He's got the 11. But he's got problems with the 2 and 8 being tied up. So he's got to be looking immediately some way of getting a nudge in them as and when he can. Nobody in answer to Chimpy, as far as I know. But as I said earlier, it's not proper online racing yet. What you want with online racing is your own lobby, a bunch of yous in there together, and that makes it far more enjoyable. As it is at the moment, it's only online practice with real people, which, you know, I haven't even tried that yet. I've never been in an online lobby, but that's all it is practice. They're going to have to add, lobbies, or create a lobby option for people at some point, or it's no good. But I've waited long enough for the game to actually be released, so I'll wait even more until they get that sorted out. Yeah, the fastest lap times, yeah. Oh, by the way, the one thing I found out is that I was looking at the update that they did recently, and it was telling us about this hangar race track, and I'm looking at the track options when I was in practice mode, and the hangar race track isn't available in practice mode. It's only available in the lap thing. Yes, it is implemented. It is. If you go in the hot lap option, or whatever it's called, then you have it. You're actually then racing against the guy that's just no. It is available. You are online when you're doing it, because you're racing against the next guy above you on the rankings. So I jumped up like 15, 20 places yesterday, because a guy's lap time was, maybe a couple of tenths of a second faster than mine. So I'm to beat him and then get to the next person above me. And then that gets stored on the servers. So if you look down, I'm number 75 in the UK on the hangar circuit as of yesterday. I'm 75th, and I think that's about 10 seconds off the fastest guy. I think I did a 48 something, or was it a 46? And the guy that's in the lead is on 39 seconds for that hangar circuit. But it's not available for all options in the game at the moment. Well, Bedhead's run goes to 19. It's going to be again a tall order to get a break shot out of this. He has to leave the angle and he has to go above the pack. And he's got there. Now, again, the danger with this, if you catch the pack wrong, you can head up to the scratch off this pack. And he's got it thick rather than skimming off them. But has he got a shot? And the answer to that is not a lot. He's just trying to bend the angle to make the potting angle in this 9. And that's well done. Well, he's going to have to bail out up table, I think, on this 8 ball, because I don't think he's got much else he can cut. Can he get to the 13? I think he can just get to the 13 and no more if he's lucky. No, maybe not. It is going to be the 8. And if he stuns it firm, trying to just nudge something, not really helped the situation, although I think from this side, no, the 14 doesn't go either, so that's a problem. Bedhead's run is 23, but more importantly, the lead is stretching away here. And the next time that Mr. Fox gets in, he's going to have to do something a lot more impressive than what we've seen so far. Let's just say that and be diplomatic. And there's a fair choice of balls here. But where's the break ball? It could be the 5 again, although it's a bit high in the pack. But it's not so bad from this angle, that 5 ball. But of course you then have to get rid of the 15. And you've got to deal with that issue with the 14 ball and the 12. And the more balls that gets potted, and he's got a chance now, but he might wreck his. The possibility he could nudge the 5 ball out of the way, depending on the way these balls roll. But he might try and break these 2 at the moment, and he's missed the 5 ball. That's dealt with that issue. He can take the 1 if he needs to. And the 6 ball, let's have a look at that 6 ball. That's right at the corner of the pack. That is pretty good as well. So he's got, it's always good to have shot choices and options, because you never know what might crop up. So he's got a better 6 ball there. And if he's made that decision, then that's what he's working around now. We have to assume that for the time being, that he's working around the 6 ball. And he's got a good ball to get to the 6 ball. He's got the 3 ball. He's got 2 good balls to get to the 6 ball. He's got the 3 ball and the 14 ball would be good to get on the 6 ball. So at the moment it's looking pretty good to continue the run. And the run is on 30. And the lead is building up to worrying proportions already if you're Mr. Fox. So now the 2 good balls are the 2 good balls to get on the 6 are the 2 that are remaining after he pots the 7, which is even better. He's got every chance of getting pretty nigh perfect on this 6 ball. Now, that has changed it. Even that shot, because now he's going to have to cut the 14 and get good on this 3. just slowing up. And that will do very nice, because he can just kill it stone dead and leave that angle right there where the cue ball is after the 3. So the run is 34. And he's got a shot, but he's got a problem again with the cluster. But he's got options off that 10 ball where he could get into them. He could get into them from behind as well if he needs to. And there's nothing set in them. So there will be a bit of movement. And Bedhead's run is 37. Now, he's got that slight angle in the 12. I don't know whether he wants to be aggressive here. Yeah, he took the risk. Now, that 13 ball is not too bad, as long as you can get this side of it, because you can certainly nudge the 13 and pot it and break those 2 balls. I don't know whether he's went far enough though. He's not gone far enough. He wanted to be through to just about there for that 13. That gets rid of it, but it doesn't achieve what he was hoping to do there. But he can do it off the 8. Just a little nudge. He'll have a 2 ball as a bailout shot, so he doesn't need to thump this, he just needs to hit them. And he's always got the 2 ball to fall back on, or the 9 as well. So now it's about getting down to the nitty gritty. Once again, the options for the break ball are spoiled a bit in this left hand side. And now he might have created another problem. Well, I think he can see, he can see the 5. But this is the issue here. This 3 ball and 10 ball, they're no good the way they're sitting. And he needs to get out into the table to get rid of the 10, you would think. And we're running out of balls here. The run is 43. And now he'll take the 2, and I would think the 10 would be the candidate after this. And it might be, I don't think the 11 ball is going to be any good to anybody right at where it's sitting. So the 7 ball may well be the break ball, because the 2 ball would have been good to get him on that 7 perfect, and he's going to have to bail out in the 2. So now we've got an issue. So there goes the 2. Now he can get rid of the 10. So now the choice would be finishing sort of there on the 3 to get the breakout, or finishing there on the 7 to get the breakout into the pack. That would be the choices. So he's still to make the one final choice and get rid of his second last ball. It looks as if it's going to be the 7 ball as a break ball. Then again, he's proven me wrong there. So he's got to get the line. What you don't really want is a line from there. He's trying to get inside and get to the red line, and that is pretty much following the commentator's eye. He's pretty much on the spot. So the break is now tied with the highest run for the tournament so far, and this is a critical one. Perfect angle, but got to get the pot and get a shot. And the run now goes to 49. He's on the 14. And that was perfect in how he got there. Did everything right, which is what everybody else has to be really focusing on and thinking about how you get there. And as long as you're totally in control of doing that during the rack, you will find it more successful to get there if you're concentrating and having a set plan in your mind. That's how you get the runs. You've got to get the cue ball on the spot at the end of the day, and Bedhead did it perfect. But again, there is immediate issues that have to be dealt with as soon as he can certainly, well, I don't think he can. He's too much angle in this 13. But you want to be just doing something to nudge something out of the way. And it's not great at the moment, this setup. Yeah, you see, he's just trying to get into something that was never really going to happen there because the angle was nowhere near good. He tried to get just a nudge one way or another. Now, from where he is, I don't think he can get to that 4 ball. So it's a 12 and maybe try and get a hit this time. Just a run and a nudge onto the 4 just to move something. Well, he hasn't hit it to do that. He could be trying it off the 11. That's a better ball. But again, if he had somehow got rid of the 7 and 8, the 1 goes for a breakout. So it is critical now that he gets a hit one way to continue this run, or to give him a chance to continue the run. And he's missed it again. I do believe he tried a hit there, but he can't get to this 4 ball. And now, well, he's looking to try and see if he can convince himself if he can get there, and I don't think he can. So now he's going to have to call the bank, or the sensible shot would be to call some sort of safety. I mean, if he banks the 9 somewhere over there and sends the cue ball down to there, he's not going to leave anything easier somewhere up at the top rail, because they don't pot up in this corner. So the sensible shot would be the safety, but he's probably calling he hasn't called a pocket, but he has played the bank. And now the run is over, unless that 7 and 8 are a combo up the table, which they look pretty good. He's given it a serious look. But where's his next ball going to come from? I think he's playing the combo. Oh, it's going to hold up. Last year that would have been in. So the run is 56. And it's now the high run of the tournament. And the lead is 88 points to 16. And Mr. Fox has got a long way back. Oh, 56 is a good run on this setup. Yeah, I think Mr. Fox has went to put the coffee on. Well, he's going to have to shake himself down and wake up quick here, because he's not done anything in this match at all. And when he had the golden opportunity to do, the mouse gave up on him. And he's going to be hard pushed to get much out of this setup and what he's been left, because he can just barely see the 8 ball. And there's nothing doing at this end at all. Let's have a closer look at that. What's he looking at? See, again, he's calling balls and pockets here when he should be looking at some sort of safety. I'm looking at him calling the 5 ball into the side, was it? No, he's called the 10. Well, the last shot he played was a combo, when he should have played safe. And that ended up in him giving Bedhead 58 points. Whether he can see enough of that 4, but he can certainly play the 7. It's a blind pocket shot and he'll be running into those 2 balls. Can he get enough of the 4? Again, he's trying to just spin past the 15. Played it well. Well, Mr. Fox is going about things the wrong way, I'm afraid, because you have got to tighten the floodgates and play it safe. Again, if you're just sacrificing a point by not hitting the rail, then that's what you do. If you leave him nothing, it's a far better shot than taking on risky stuff and just giving him opportunities to score. It's just the total wrong way to go about it, because all he's doing is he's going further and further behind. And what's more, once again, there is a break ball, even though it's right at the corner of the pack, but it's in a good position away from the corner of the pack. And Bedhead doesn't have to do anything. And again, he's got a good ball to get to that 7 ball. I mean, if you play the 8 up the table, you're always just coming back to somewhere before the middle pocket to play the cut in the 7 and catch the corner of that pack. And that is, again, I think he's nailed that. That is perfect. Now again, you just want to come back off this pack slightly. You don't want loads of draw. You want the stun draw, where it's controlled and it isn't fizzing up the table. And he has got a shot. And these are all painful to watch, because the last 2 visits from Mr. Fox have been an attempted combo and some other far-fetched shot that I don't know what he really called. And none of them had much. I mean, he had a far better chance of getting a combo than they had of doing something with the 10 ball. And they're going to be a hefty price to pay. Well, Bedhead, within the next 3 shots, is going to be halfway home. And, oh well, I think he's lucky. He's just brushed that 12 enough to stay in play. Now, once again, there's a slight problem, but if he can get good in that 12, he can deal with the slight problem. But the problem in that is he might get rid of his 6 ball by doing it. So he can use the 12 to pot it if he can get there, which he can do off the 8 ball. But nudging into those balls, he might affect the position of the 6 ball. Now, I have to say as well, guys, and I don't know whether you agree with me, if you're a 2,951 player, right, rated, you would think that in the last 2 visits that Mr. Fox has had, the common sense approach would prompt you into playing the negative safety. You know, lose a point, but leave your opponent nothing. You would have to, work out a way to play a shot that's going to sacrifice a point, but and more importantly, defend yourself from losing a handful of points, a bucket load, 58 points, and counting here with this visit. you'd have thought a 2,900 player would have the common sense to do that than just go all out attack and not deliver, because the odds in getting them were fairly slim, and then pay the price by losing a hefty bucket load of points and end up almost 100 points behind in the space of 2 visits. Well, he hasn't shown up tonight, I'm afraid. Not yet, he hasn't. But I'll tell you what, his next visit is going to be the most important visit of the match. For him, that is. Because he must make some form of contribution well into double figures if he's going to stand any chance of getting back into this match. 6 ball is dead set. Bedhead once again looking for the shape. The pace is good and the line is pretty good, and it's going to be the top of the pack. Good evening to Mr. Deanster. He's got the break shot. He doesn't look as if he's got much after it though. And there's absolutely nothing on. There is no shot. I'm trying my best to find something, but I know what Bedhead should be doing. He should be nailing it in behind the 7, in behind the 15. That's the shot. That is what you do. You spin it in behind the 15, you leave him nothing. Just a wee bit too heavy. He's left him a shot in the 13, but of course, even though Bedhead hasn't nailed it in behind the 50, he's left him the 14 as well. This is now where Mr. Fox has to be held accountable. He has to do something, or he is heading to the back door very rapidly. Let's have another look here. Well, 7 ball's the candidate, so that's the one to work your way around. Avoid the 7 ball at all costs. There's a couple of balls up the table which would allow you to get to the 7. So let's see if that's what he's going to do. Right, see you later, Hairpig. Thanks for joining. Now he's going to be running into the 9 here. So we've already nominated the 7 ball as the break shot. And then we have to assume that Mr. Fox has done so as well. Welcome back, Semi-Pro. Now he's just again potting this too. He has to avoid the 7, whatever he does. And that's just brushed it. Hasn't really changed it. The 2 ball also good for a break ball. Where's the 2 ball? It's gone. Mind you, you're on YouTube, Semi-Pro, so it takes that wee bit longer for the chat to come through. But it's definitely going to be the 7 ball. I can't see it. But the other problem now is he has to play a good positional shot to get to the 7 now, because if he's potting the 3 ball and then potting the 9, you've got the cue ball having to travel farther to find the spot to be able to play the 7. So this is a critical one. He's checking it, I think, to come back up the middle. It needs to keep running. It needs to keep going. He's just got barely an angle. He's going to chip something out. How's his luck? Well, at least he's got a ball. In fact, he's got 2. He's got the 5 ball. But, of course, we're not having a great angle. He couldn't get a great lot into the pack. So, you know, there's a lot of balls stuck together there. Well, he's got to take the 5 and get lucky. Just going for a big hit here. Oh, cue ball, thought about it. But that's not really improved it a great deal. Well, this is already Mr. Fox's biggest contribution in the match. But it needs to be a lot more than this. Much more than this. And no sooner have I said that, he's missed the 14 and he's left Bedhead a shot. And these are all bonus balls for Bedhead, just to keep stretching away from Mr. Fox and effectively killing his chances to get back into this match. It then just becomes a matter of time. That every time that that Bedhead has come to the table, his contributions have been far better, culminating in his highest run for the tournament and the highest run itself, which was what, 58 was it? But the setup at the moment is not great for the break shot. There's nothing sitting in a good position. The 13 is again very tight to the pack. He could use the 6 ball as a break ball, but that would have to be a cut from the middle of the table, really. That would be the shot from there. That'd be one option. I mean, he could, depending on where you are, you could end up playing the 9 into the side that way, hitting the pack, or that way, hitting the pack. Not like that, be a better angle than that though, but there is a couple of alternatives. Well, it's certainly not going to be the 6 ball because he's taken it out. The 13, as I say, is very tight. So if he left the 9 there, he could certainly roll through easily if he got good in that 9 to just drop through far enough. It would be, see, the thing is, where the 13 is, it's not good to be playing it from up here. If you were somewhere like that, you know, just quite close to the 13, it'd be a far easier shot. So it's now at critical point. And he might, I don't know whether he played for the 2 there, but he's gone too far if he has, and he's in sort of no man's land again. He looks as if he's going up table just to stun across for the 2. Oh, this is dodgy now. He's gone way too square. So, the obvious shot would be to take your medicine and pot the 13 and try and just brush the 2 into a spot if you get lucky. I mean, he's going to hit the 2, but not very heavily, I don't think. But he might get a lucky break. I mean, he's obviously convinced to keep the 13 there and play this really tough 2. But he's heading away unless he puts a lot of stuff in this cue ball. He's going to be travelling an awful distance to get to the 13, and that was just asking too much. I think he should have taken the 13 and rode his luck there on brushing the 2 and maybe still having a shot. You'd have to just hope you got lucky. But the run is 10, and that's all he needs to keep doing. Just keep putting these little 10s, 15 together, and he'll just head away into the distance as he is at the moment. But as it is, the 13 ball remains there. In a much better place now than what it was. But can Mr. Fox get on it? And can he get on it good? Well, that's not bad. He is close, but he could have done with being a wee bit straighter on this. Because again, it is tough. No doubt he's going to hit the pack, but can he get the pot? Oh, he's a mile away. An absolute mile. And I don't think he's left Bedhead an awful lot here. Oh, he can get the 2. He's fine. Well, again, a contribution of 1 doesn't get the job done, I'm afraid. And the 9 ball is sitting there in a great position for a break shot. The 10 again is a bit high in the pack, but you would catch the top 2 balls. But so there's options there. Wrong button, guys. Now he just wants to pot the 7 and run into something here. Ideally, he wants to run into the 1 and nudge the 5, possibly like that, and that will do very nicely. That's the 2 balls he just wanted to nudge out the way and open it up, and now everything's fine. And he's got enough choices here to get to where he wants to be at the critical point in the rack. Well, we've been going for just on an hour and 10 minutes. And while Bedhead is working his way through this, let us just... oh, sorry, we were on the right one. Let's have a quick look at Friday night 9 ball, see how things are going there. Well, Spectre Dawn marches on again. He's already through. Chimpy and Lard are all square. Lard is getting 6 and out on the winner's side. On the one loss side, Larry is over there. And he's 1-0 up against Bankster, who's getting whatever ball that is. I can't see it and I can't be bothered zooming in to look at it. And Semi-Pro's waiting on a loser coming across to face him. And meanwhile, Bedhead on a run of 9. And I think it may well be the 9 ball. He can pot the 5, run through for that, whatever ball that is, the 12. Or the 15 when you get closer to it. And it's going to be the 11 next. Now, a little stunny draw back for the 10, I would think. He wants to be able to get into the cue ball here. He's just off the rail. And that... He's just got to get a little bit onto that 14 and come away from it. But not too much again. You don't want to get too much draw. Now see, he's got the draw this time. And now he's going to have to dig out a pot. Fairly straight in 13 ball. If he runs the 14 up the table, he's coming across for the 1. And what about that 2 and 10? Well, that may well go in off the jaw. Let's see it from this side. When you look at it, it looks like it's going more to the jaw from this side. It's certainly changed now because he's nudged him. Can he pot the 11 though? I think he can. Again, he needs another nudge of some description because things are still messy with this cluster. And nothing goes there. There's nothing set. And well, there's a critical shot coming up pretty much now. He has to find a way to get to them. Now, if he kills the cue ball or comes back an inch or so, he could... Oh, I don't know, he's going another way. I thought he could have left it for the 8 ball, cut it into the side and run into those balls from that side. You know, somewhere like that, where he was running that in there and hitting them that way. Now he's got an angle in the 4 where he can go forward. I don't know whether he'll catch a lot, but he might not want to risk it. Well, he is risking it. And that has improved it a great deal. Now we can concentrate on the 6 ball with the break ball. And he's back in business. He's got a plan to work with. This is at the stage in the rack, even with these balls left, where he's working on a plan. So it's all about working around the 6 ball. In fact, the 12 ball isn't bad either towards the corner of the pack. So he's got a bailout. He's got a choice here if things go slightly awry. And he's also got the 8 ball and the 1 ball as good balls to get to those choice of break balls. So everything's looking pretty good here. But it always interests me how certain players have certain ratings in certain games and fail to deliver when it comes to tournaments like this. It's strange that. So, presumably, the 12 ball's going next, and well, he's taking the 8, but he could take the 12 and come back into the table for the 8. But he's going for the 8, so is he trying to go into the gap here? Oh, disaster. Now, you see, there you go. Running into balls when you don't need to is the fatal mistake. And he's scratched. And the run ends in 24. And the lead is 110 points. And Mr. Fox has ball in hand. A break ball in place. 2, as I said. But obviously one has to go. So this is the third chance that Mr. Fox has had to make some sort of substantial contribution. And if anything, of course, the deeper into this match we go, the more emphasis is on the fact that Mr. Fox has to make 50, 60 odd from this visit, or nothing at all. He's simply got to get there. 10, 12, 15, not good, and not good enough. 40 and 50 odd for a glimmer of a hope, and that's about it. So he's a bit further away than he would have liked for this, but he's got the angle. This time he's potted the break ball. He gets a bonus ball. He's got a bailout ball in place, which he may well have to take right now. I mean, he could roll the 12 in, but I think he's just rolling in. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'll brush off the 14. Oh, he's hit it too far to the jaw. Well, again, the contribution is only 5. Well, I think Mr. Fox needs something a bit stronger than just tea. Now, quick look at these balls. See if there's anything there to work with. Well, the 13's dead set. That is absolutely a gimme, that 13 ball. And they're pretty close together, so that's one option immediately that Bedhead can deal with if he can get there. Now, he could have if he had stayed low enough for the 3 ball, so he's going to have to go up table. But even if he rolls the 15 in, he can take the 5, roll the 15 in, and just drop through below the 4 ball on the left hand side. You would want to get to just about there, or even there, to take that combo out. And then that then should open up these 2 balls into this side, provided he gets rid of the 3. But where's the break ball? And he may well just have created one. Then 1 ball's nudged into play. He's got a shot, and again he's in a good position to keep going, and he's also got a good ball to get to the 1 ball as well. That 15 ball would be good. So 14, and depending on how well he is in this 13, he can just drop up for the 3. I think he might be a bit straight. He could probably just roll through the other side. Come back across. That will still do it. So now it's about having a fairly straightforward 15 ball, which he could take into the side maybe if he holds this, can he? Can he just hold this? Or is he going to run up the table? He's trying to just hold it for the side. Now, he's got to make sure he comes up past this middle pocket. But I think he might be too straight. Yeah, he's too straight. He's coming back and around the corner by the look of it. Back towards us around the corner now into the table. Now again, the pace is just a bit short. He wanted to be here. So again, it's another tough break shot, guaranteed to open the balls. And this time, it's 1 too many. The run is 12, but that's not the important point. The lead is huge. But there's a lot of free balls here for Mr. Fox if he wants them. But last year, all of that break ball there would have went in, no problem. I think Mr. Fox is away getting tea. Well, how's things going on Friday night 9 ball? This match might have just finished. Nope. Chimpy and Lard. Lard is getting 6 and out. And Chimpy should be home and dry here in a minute. And no sooner have I said that than the commentator's curse has jumped up to bite Chimpy right in the arse. He's overcut the 6. The high break, Larry, is 58 by Bedhead. Or was it 56? I think it was 58. So we're back in. Mr. Fox is back at the table. Bedhead with a lead of 155 points to 38. And of course the stats for the tournament don't get updated until after this match is completed, but I'm fairly certain it's 58. Or is it 56? So I'm fairly certain I'm wrong then. I thought it was 58. But I've always got an excuse on Friday night. It's 25 past 9. I should have been in my bed an hour ago. I'm knackered. Oh dear. Oh, the yawn starts severely now. 5 and 7 are doing nothing there. 2 ball would do as a break ball, but that had to be done. He had to get the little nudge to break open the problem balls, which take care of it. So now we're working around the 2 ball. At least that's what we're thinking that Mr. Fox is thinking. And again, there's a good couple of balls to get to that break shot. The 11 and the 6. And if it came to it, the 13 would be a third option to get there. So it's a reasonably good setup here at the moment. So if he's taking a 5, then the safest option is to run up the table. I mean, he can't be playing this tight into the side. Well, that's what he's doing. So now he's got to go through and get out into the table. And the further he goes, the shallower the angle becomes. And again, he's got to hit this really firm to get some disturbance here. And he's got a bonus ball. 10 ball to go. But of course, immediately, because he's wasn't ideal on that break shot, he didn't get a lot of movement in the pack. So there's clusters to deal with here. And the obvious candidate for dealing with that problem is that 5 ball, if you can get good on it, or the 11. You can certainly nudge a couple of balls, but he's tight to the rail. Well, the 5 ball remains here as the really only good option to get into these 4 balls. I don't know whether he played to get on it there, but he's well shot. But he can try and get out into the table onto the 5 this time. Well, this is his last choice, or last chance, sorry. And that will do. Now he needs to hope that he doesn't get these too heavy, that he can leave a break ball. And that 14 is nowhere near good. It might have to be the 13 at the back of the pack, or possibly the 8. But he's got the 7 into the side. So I think if you make that choice, you're working on those 2 balls at the back of the pack. No, they didn't sort the pocket situation. They just set it to narrow, and made it a lot tougher. And according to Steve, the pockets are supposed to be a bit easier, but as we've seen, they're not. Absolutely no difference to be seen in the way these pockets react. You hit a point on these pockets with any pace, it won't go in, as they always haven't gone in. There's no difference there. So this is where we've got to. He's got to get parallel or just slightly above this 15 ball, somewhere sort of there or there where he can get into the pack. Well, it's going to be the 8 from the back, but it's 6.5 a dozen. The only thing with this one is the cue ball can run stone dead, so he's got to try and hit a corner. He doesn't want to hit there, he wants to hit there or there and chip something out like that. I mean, that'll do. I mean, he's not broken them open heavily, but all you're looking for is an option, and the option is to roll that 9 ball up the table and roll far enough for the 5 if he wants to get into them, and he hasn't done. He should have been up the table another foot. More than that, he wanted to be up here so that he could at least run into them and nudge something out, and that's not got there. Now his other choice, the ideal choice would have been the 2 ball. Now he's trying to get into something from a ball that was nowhere near good, and he may well have just shot himself in the foot. Can you see the 13? Yes, he can. But the ball to get them all out would be the 2. But of course, the issue here is the 3 balls in the way. There's balls blocking, and they're the things that have to be dealt with. And the 3 balls nowhere near good to get to. And now from the back, he's got a perfect ball on the 12. But that 3 ball now is the big issue, because the 2 and I think the 6 will go, but the 3 ball is the major problem in dealing with that area of the table. It's just not easy to get anywhere near the 3 ball. He could do it now by running the 11 in and drop behind the 3 if it goes up the table, and it doesn't, so that's another problem. I thought it might go up the table. Well, the 11 ball might not be ideal, but it would have been a break ball. The 4 ball now remains as a break ball. Excuse me. And the 3 ball I don't think is moved, and it's still a problem because we've now got a 6 ball and a 12 ball stuck together. And the 4 ball's now a hamper to get to the 3, where you would have such an angle that you could break the 6 and the 12 out. And again, running out of balls to get there. Now, I hope he's not trying to run this 1 ball with inside English to run to the rail and come across. Let's have a look. Well, he can get rid of the 3 now. It still doesn't deal with the issue though, because he hasn't had an angle to get there. Well, that's the one thing about YouTube. You can sit there for days watching loads of videos, not just of Earl Strickland, of pretty much all the top players in the game. There's videos of some description on for you. You can watch them to your heart's content. Now he's inside the 2 ball, and now he's in extremely ugly position here. It's going to be the cross bank or reverse bank as I call it, but he never ever got to deal with that situation there because he never ever got the angle to get to these 2 balls. Now the safety would be just to roll the 4 to the rail, and you don't leave anything on here, but now he's going for the cross bank. He's got it this time. I think that's the first time one of them's worked out. But once again, though, with the cue ball running, he's ended up nothing other than a thin cut into the side. Dodgy cut. Well, Mr. Fox somehow or other has got to 42. But as I've said, it needs to be 42 and counting. And he's got the break shot and it has to go in. Obviously. And he's got a bonus ball as well. Now, has he got a shot? Yes, he has. He's got a reasonably straight 8 ball up the table. And he's got good candidates for break balls here. 3 ball looks spot on. 7 balls in the pack. 14 will go. 11 ball might be a break ball. So there is a couple of choices to work around. Again, there's also plenty of balls in and around that 3 ball to work with to allow you to get good on the 3 for the break. So this is what he's got to be concentrating on, as well as dealing with the 7 and the 14 that are in the pack. The 9 ball, of course, is a blocker as well. In fact, the one thing he could do is somehow or other get to that side rail where he can get rid of that 9 ball. It's blocking the path for the 11 and it's blocking the possible path for the 10 as well. So this 14 ball will allow him to come around the corner if he wants. It's a risky one, but he could get into the inside there, but he hasn't done. But he's got to be focusing on getting rid of the 9. He could go forward with a bit of inside right English, check the rail and come back in towards the 11. I don't know what he played there, because that hasn't got there. I mean, he's got a bailout ball. He may well have tried to get on the 9 there. But again, he's running out of balls. You know, then the 9 ball has been an alarm bell for me for the last 6 or 7 shots, and he's still made no effort, really, maybe half an effort to get to it with the second last shot, but it's now critical. And now he's got it. He can get rid of it now, unless he fancies dropping in the short side of these 2 balls to get them in that pocket. Well, he's not had great success with combos. I'd be steering well clear of that. I think if he... again, I presume he's playing the 10 into the side. He's left himself short if he's trying to take the 9 again. No, he's taking the 1 in the side. And of course, the other thing that I forgot to mention is the ideal break ball is gone. It's disappeared. And now, finally, the 9 ball goes. The run is 54. And if you guys were right and I was wrong, which I would accept, then Mr. Fox has a chance to take the high run for the tournament, which, let's be honest, this is what he has had to be doing in this visit. And it has to keep getting higher. Well, he can certainly catch the corner of the pack. Those the 2 and the 4 ball Where's the cue ball getting kicked? Oh dear. Well, if that had been last year's pockets, that would have went into the side. But the run keeps going, and the high run for the tournament is now with Mr. Fox, as are at the critical time when he needed it, but he still needs a good bit more. When he's sitting in triple figures, his score will look a lot better. And again, without the shot clock, if ever your mind's beginning to wander, the perfect opportunity just to have a look around the table and again get that route plan into your head. Just know exactly where you're going and what you're going to be doing next. You've got to keep that right at the front of your mind in this situation. Well, in every situation, but as long as you know where you're going, you'll pretty much get there if you do things right and you have that set into your head. Now, these balls are all in a reasonable position in terms of the spaces between them. You don't really need to be moving anything if you can help it, because you can end up creating a situation. I mean, he has a nudge there, but that's not done any harm. But as long as you pick these off in the right order, you'll open things up. Now, the 6 ball, again, could be a break ball, but the issue is getting rid of the 15. And it's way too tight to be trying to squeeze the 15 past that 6. That's never going to go. So the 15 ball is a problem where it's sitting right now. The 15 goes through the gap between the 7 and the 8 into the opposite side to get rid of it there. Now, he's got too much angle in this 14, I think, to come back into any position to play that 15. And again, too much angle, I think, to hold for the 15 in the gap between the 3 and the 6 for the corner. So it still remains there, and it's still a problem. And the biggest problem being it's got a limited availability as to where it's going to go and how you can get there. So this is now very critical that he does something a lot sooner than later to get that 15 out of the way. Well, he won't be doing anything slim unless he can get this 15 ball dealt with. And if he's committed to the 6 ball being a break ball, which, I mean, let's be honest, it's the best candidate for the break shot, it's even more critical that he can get somewhere in the 15 where he's not near the 6 in terms of moving it. Well, he's got a hampered shot for the cut and the 8 ball into the side, but that would nudge the 15 out of the way. He's not looked at it. It's not an easy shot, but it would be the one good opportunity to open that 15. The danger again would be nudging the 6 as well. Now, can he get a brush in the 15 here? Yes, he can. But has he got a shot? and he might have to bail out in his break ball. Well, he's got a dodgy cut in the 4, and he's maybe going to have to take his medicine. If he wanted to commit fully to that 6 ball, he could cut the 4. But I think you've got to just take it as it is and just deal with it with an alternative option. And, well, there is sort of an option there, but they're both high in the pack. So it could be a ball into the side pocket would allow you to play a break shot. But we'll see. But meantime, the run goes to 67. And Mr. Fox is into triple figures. He is 49 behind. So now what's it to be? Some sort of cut into the side to run into the pack on either of those 2 balls. Or a cut into the side where you're running around 2 rails in the bottom corner, left or right, to go into the pack. But that just means there's more pace coming off the cue ball before it gets to the pack. How is he on this 4? That needs to keep going. It needs to keep going. I think he might be okay. He might have something. Now, once again, if he's going to run forward off that onto the pack, the scratch is on. The thing is, with that ball being so high in the pack, he has to run forward. And he's hit the top of them. And I don't think he can see enough of the 10. It looks tight. Yeah, it looks a bit too tight. It's a dodgy cut in the 14 into the side. Well, that 9 and 4 would be a combo, but you can't get to it. Now, what's he looking at? Because I don't think he has got many options here at all. It's got to be the cut into the side pocket then. Or he could cut. What's he calling here? So the problem, did he call the 4 ball? If he's called the 4 ball into the corner, how does he get a clean hit in the 9 to get to the 4? I don't think that's anywhere near on. I mean, if he's trying to smack these to hit the 4, this is a big sellout. Just as he's gotten himself back into the game partially, he doesn't want to be doing this. Oh, well, that's a cracking shot. He's convinced himself to get it, but it goes. And my eyes need testing because I wasn't convinced he could get enough of it. But well done for that one. I thought he was looking at some sort of combo here. That's why I was worried, because there was nothing going that way, but he could just get enough of the ball to get the hit on it and continue the run. But there's still a problem. Well, the 11 ball, as it sits at the moment, would be favourite. But then you've got those 4 balls sitting there, 3 in a cluster, but the 9 ball would be the shot to nudge them, but the 13 ball's a blocker, so that needs to go. Is he trying to cut the 12 and nudge them this way? Yes, he is. And now again, It's not ideal. 15 ball into the side. Cut back on the 9 into the corner. And still a problem. The biggest problem of all is the 13 ball sitting there in the way of things. And the 2, sorry, not the 2, the 10, the 10 and the 7 are no good where they are. But this is the problem. It obviously blocks the pocket for the 8. And as long as it remains there, it continues to be the problem. The run is 75. Has he fallen asleep? I don't see any. Oh, there we go. I wasn't seeing any signs of life there. Well, that's helped slightly, but the 13 ball is still there. The 7 ball, if you get top side of it from this end and a good angle, you obviously can take care of the 11 and 10. And if you look at the 11 and 10 from this side, it's not perfect as a combo. It may well go in off the jaw. It's a bit tight to be risking it though. But you then get to a stage where you might not have a choice. Now you can get in behind that 7 now. Has he gone far enough? He might not have gone, or he might just be able to brush it. I think he's okay. Just a little nudge, but the problem with being so tight is he needs to get a bit of movement so he still has some sort of shot on something from that 7. He might be contented to leave this 11 and 10 as a combo. But if you end up playing a stun here, you could end up just sort of stone dead on the 10 ball. Well, he's okay, but the cue ball was never going to move far, but everything's fine now as far as that goes. And now we have to decide, if we haven't already decided, that the 1 ball's going to be the break ball. The 10 ball's a bit on the too short side as far as the corner of the pack goes. It's not great where the 10 ball is, but the 1 ball would be a make-do shot. And now it's got to be the 8 ball and the 2 ball up the table, but that makes it an issue in terms of getting onto the 10. Now, why is he taking the 1 now? Where's he going? Is he coming back? I would have thought take the 2 ball up the table, get rid of that. So where's he going if he pots the 1? Because he can pot the 1 after the 2, come back up the table for the 10. Right, so it's going to be the softish draw to the rail and out into the table. I presume that's the way he's going about it. Well, he's not digging down into the cue ball, so I don't know what direction he's going here. Is he going 3 rails to come out into the table? Oh, he's trying to get into the pack. That'll do. That gets the job done. I was wondering why he was leaving himself there, but that answered that query. Ball in hand for the break shot. The run is 84. And more importantly, he's 32 behind. Well, this is exactly what Mr. Fox had to produce. I mean, he was backed into a corner. He could do nothing else other than make a score on that third visit. I think it was a third contribution. And he's made nothing so far, but he simply had to get something in the bag to make a match out of this. Well, he's going to be struggling a wee bit here. He can certainly pot the 13. He can drop it in and get on the 12. So there's not an issue right now. And ideally, if he had a wee angle in the 12 or on this 12, he could just nudge some of these balls as well. But everything's covering everything here at the moment. This is not a great setup where they are. But he's worked hard for this. But again, as I said, he had to. Yeah, you know, you've got to dig deep and you've got to get right on the ball and focus on the job in hand, because it was all or nothing, because we'd seen nothing up until now. And you've got to hold your bottle as well, hold your nerve. Yeah, these balls are just in an ugly shape where they are. They're all covering one another, and it's a recipe for a problem unless you get movement on these. If you can't, and that might have backfired, because I think he's got nothing. He's got nothing. I mean, it was just threatening to go a bit pear-shaped. Well, he's called a one. Well, he's trying to find a safety here, I think. Trying to maybe just bank the 11 and drop behind the 14. He's got to be wary that he's going to leave a shot for Bedhead to cut back the 6 if he doesn't get good. Well, Bedhead, I don't think will resist this 6 ball. But it's a run of 87 for Mr. Fox, and it was exactly what he needed. Exactly what he needed to get himself into the match and at least make a match out of it, because for the most part of this match, he'd been nowhere near in it. But now he has a chance, but that all depends on what Bedhead can do with what this table's like at the moment, because it is not pretty. But Bedhead now has to look at stretching that lead again, because he's only 40, I've lost track, 43 away. And, well, he can come around behind here. Looking to see where his option's going to be to get movement here. It could be the 5 ball, it could be the 4, but he's got to get up the table off this 14. Unless he's trying to... I don't know why he didn't go up the table. I mean, if you go up the table, if you went up the table there, he could have finished up there, or up there in the 4. Well, he's got a shot in the 4. It's even though he's got that hit, that's not really improved it a great deal. But that shot in the 11 now will do the trick. Has he nudged the 7 into some sort of a break shot? It's not great, but it may well do. It's right on parallel with the back of the pack, but you've got to get really good so that you're clipping the corner ball in that pack when you're trying to play off that 7 for the break shot. You've got to get really good, because if you get the wrong line, you're missing the pack altogether. Now, he might be trying to get into the triangle, and now I don't know what he really tried there. I thought he might have been trying to get into the pack, into the triangle and hold the break shot from the kitchen with ball in hand, but this is not what you want. He's going to have to run 2 rails if he was going to try and run into them and pot the 3, but common sense has prevailed. The run is 11, but it does open that gap for Mr. Fox. He's got nothing here, so he needs a good safety. Oh, you missed Mr. Fox's run there, here, Pig. I mean, he had to do it, as I said earlier. He got an 87, by far the highest run of the tournament, just when he needed it. He couldn't leave it any longer. He had to make a contribution. And that's not a bad safety by Bedhead, because that 3 ball is nailed to the rail pretty much. It's nowhere near inviting as any sort of shot. Well, I had to go much further than that, the 3 ball, but again, it's a ball to pot the 3 if he wants, but he's not going to get a great deal out of this unless he tweaks this cue ball and goes around angles and stuff. But I think he's just playing the sensible safety. Don't want to get over ambitious. Good evening to Blue Cheese. That's a name I've never seen before. And good evening to Moz. Well, for the latecomers, you've missed a high run of the tournament. The basis of this match is that Bedhead got the high run of the tournament, 56 early on in the match. Mr. Fox, no contribution whatsoever worth mentioning. And then when he had a good chance, completely duffed a shot, let Bedhead in again to build his lead. And then finally Mr. Fox woke up when it was threatening to be a bloodbath, and put together a run of 87, the highest run of the tournament, because it was all or nothing at that point. But now it's about Mr. Fox keeping things tight and scoring, and keeping Bedhead well at arm's length and stopping him from running away to the finish line. He's got to keep it tight. Well, he was certainly teaching all of us how to lose early on in this match. You can ask any of the guys watching this. He was nowhere near in the hunt, not at the races whatsoever in the first part of this match. So the match has been on for now 2 hours and 5.5 minutes. Now that's a foul because he didn't hit a rail, so he sacrifices a point. But like I said, it's much better sacrificing a point than giving your opponent a chance to score 30 or 40. Now, while they're tip-tapping around here at the moment, let's have a quick look at Friday Night 9 Ball because what the hell's happened there? Spectre Dawn beat Chimpy 7-0 and Spectre Dawn has raced through to, in fact, we've got a Friday Night 9 Ball final already. That's quick and it's only 10 past 10. So Larry and Spectre Dawn for the second week in a row, or maybe the third week, I'm losing track, but it's the two of them in the final. And back at the match, fantastic Mr. Fox is 41 points behind with a shot on the, is that the 11 or the 13? It's the 11. Now if he can get good on this 3 ball, big target, that pack of balls, but you've got to get on the 3 to do it. Michael Heisman says, as a novice watching, it's the safety exchanges that confuse me. Now, how do you mean confuse? Confuse in terms of what you should be doing for a safety shot? Because I'll tell you, when the pack is like this, where they're all tight, the good safety shot is to lock the cue ball onto the pack, or the other alternative is if you can thin a ball and run to the long grass down there, that's as good a safety shot as anything. Well, Mr. Fox didn't get the shape on the 3 ball, and now he should be running for cover. Well, we've seen. Now, what did he call there? He called the 7, and the 7 has gone in. What a shot that was. Because I never had a look around the pack there. Well, is this the start of another run for Mr. Fox? Yeah, he's called the 7. If I had went around here, I might have seen that was a possible combo, but what a shot. And he also gets a bonus, and the cue ball thought about scratching, but stays in the table. Did that skim off the 13? It might have skimmed off the 13. Well, what a shot. Well, you've heard the saying, he who dares wins. He dared to take the big risk on that shot. Sometimes you do end up at a point where you're backed into a corner and you're fighting for survival in a match, and sometimes you just have to go for it. And it gives him a chance to eat into that deficit and apply the pressure to Bedhead, because Bedhead's had none so far, but the more that Mr. Fox makes a contribution here, the more interesting the match becomes. Problem up the table though, with that 3-1 ball, they're not set good. And you have to get good on the one to get rid of it. And he doesn't want to be hanging about too long, messing about down the bottom of the table here. When there's a break ball already in place, the 6 ball is good, but he wants to get himself up the table if he can. Now, he could run the 5 in. I mean, you could run the 5 in and run through and come out into the table and have a backup ball, but try and get onto that 1 and get rid of it. He could do that off the 5. If you run up the table and run into the kitchen and back out, if you don't get good on that 1, you can always have a bailout, you know, on the 15 or whatever. And the other problem as well is the 4 and the 8. So there's 2 issues that are pending to get dealt with here. And he's dealt with one of them. The 6 ball still remains as a break ball. The 10 ball is a bit too close to the 6 for comfort, but it would be an option to get to the 6. But he's got to deal with the 1 ball. Again, he's got the option that he can run through. He should still have an emergency backup with the 4 ball if things don't go right, if he runs into these. And he's actually made it worse. And that's what can happen. Well, I think if he'd run the 5 ball in and done what I said a lot sooner, with more balls on the table, he could have got onto that 1 ball a lot easier. And now he's trying to run. And that's worked out. And the 6 ball still remains there as the break shot now. I think he's pretty much committed to that. He could use the 8 at a push, depending how things end up. I need another cough. Well, I said earlier the 10 ball would have been handy, albeit a bit close to the 6 as a break shot. So now it's about getting that control. Now he looks as if he's going to be using the 8. So it's going to be a cut on the 8. Maybe not. He's thinking again. That's running a bit too far. Wanted to be sort of there for comfort's sake on the pot, rather than here. Big shot. Very big shot, this 6 ball. And he's played it a lot more controlled than he did in one of the break shots he had earlier in the match. 2 or 3 problems though, but at least he's got a shot. And if he cuts the 15, he can do a bit of nudging immediately if he wants. But if he just drops onto the 8, he can still do a bit of nudging off the 8. So there is a couple of options here. Good evening to Vertical Liquid. You're joining at the right time because we may well now have a match on here. I think if he's going to play the 8 ball, I think he has to chip this fairly firm if he's going to try and just nudge the 14. He doesn't want to be too soft in this. if he's going to try and hit something here. It's not I don't think it's a particularly great angle. No. And now, again, he could cut the 13 and run into those 3. There's still a problem in the left-hand side, so the 13 would allow him to nudge into. He doesn't need to nudge into them if he get onto the 12 from this side, but the 2 ball's in the way and it's a break ball. So, problems now. 2 problems there. Well, 3 to be honest with you. You've got 3 clusters of balls and not enough balls to get there. Well, that's dealt with 2 problems. There's still the 3rd one. And he can probably get to them maybe off the 3, putting a bit of spin on it just to chip something. That'll do, because he's left a combo. That combo will go in every day of the week, so he doesn't have to worry about that. And the 2 ball still remains as the candidate for the break shot. So now, this is probably the most important sequence of balls in the match, because Mr. Fox is in 146. He's going to be less than 15 away going into the next rack if he can get there, and then he's really in business. Where's the cue ball going? And no sooner have I said that than he's run into a ball which is the cardinal sin, and he's scratched. Commentator's curse. And the cardinal sin committed and duly punished with a scratch. And the run ends in 21. And again, he's 20 behind. And then the countdown was on, and he may well just have blown it. And that's a disaster. 2 ball still remains as the candidate, but we still have a problem. And the problem is the 5 and the 10, and not enough balls to get there. Running out of options. Now, where Bedhead's gone there, I don't know what he's thinking, because he's way short of the mark. And Mr. Fox won't mind this, because then scuppers Bedhead's chances of trying to continue this run, because he's not got enough options to get to that issue. And now he's going to have to drop the 2 in and think of another way, because now the 14's the only option to run across the 14 when he pots it and just either drop behind or get a little nudge if he wants. So now he's got the 5 in play, but how can he use that 10 ball as a break ball? The 10 ball is behind the pack. It is not good. And the further up the table he goes, the shallower the angle. And that is just simply going to be a forward and around the corner to try and catch something. And the problem with it is you end up in the back of the pack like that with nothing, unless you can spot something in amongst them. And I don't think there is anything among that lot. Well, Bedhead's having a good look around, but he should be just trying to hide this cue ball. He's called the safety. So he's using, or trying to use, this right hand side of the table here behind the pack, I would think. No, he's trying to use the 15, and that will do just as well. Managed to kill the cue ball, and that's left Mr. Fox nothing. Now he can try and go forward off the 15 into the pack, like there. But he needs to make sure he gets there. He's trying to get into this little spot here. But he has to make sure that he doesn't hit this too hard to bring the 15 across here and leave Bedhead a shot. So he might have to think of alternative means. That was probably the best move there. Yeah, that was a better shot. Because that would have been dangerous to try and throw the cue ball in there. And the pace that he had to stun it would have sent that 15 ball round into this end of the table. And Bedhead may well have had a shot on it. So that was a better choice of shot. Now there's a bit of pressure on Bedhead here to get a good one in, and this is not easy. And to accidentally bring something into play, and he needs to hold the pace, and that will do. Well, the next 2 or 3 shots in this safety exchange are critical as well, because sooner or later something's going to sneak out. The question is who's going to do it? And every shot that you play, you've got to get that edge as thin as you can if you're trying to skim back behind this bunch of balls, or play a stun to lock onto the 8. Well, he hasn't really got it as tight as I wanted. And now there's a big problem. The 4 ball is dead. It's hanging over the pocket. And any ball sent towards that pocket is going to knock it in. Now, does this 2 and 8 go as a combo? Well, Bedhead thinks it does. And that is going to go in. And he's got a push in the 14 into the 4 if he wants. He's got the 3 into the corner. And he's off and running again. And Bedhead is right into the business end of the tournament, to the match, sorry. Well, I think he's going to leave that 4 ball there as a bailout, which is never a bad idea, the way the balls are sitting. This match has now been going for 2 hours and 25 minutes almost. And it was almost all over in an hour and a quarter. And we'll have a quick look at the Friday night 9-ball final score. It's 4-2 to Larry. Is Larry getting anything? I don't think he is. I think it's a scratch match. So Larry's 4-2 in front. Bedhead is 15 balls away, so he's going to need a break shot. And we have a couple of candidates, the 6 and the 1. That 15 ball would have done as well. What did I say? Aye, what did I say? You're right enough. I think I said 15 balls, didn't I? My arithmetic goes at this time of night. 2 hours past my bedtime. The brain's shutting down. Good evening to Brain Fell Out. Right, Cobra, thanks for watching. See you later. I certainly don't think it'd be a great idea to leave the 4 ball as the last ball to get to the break shot. I certainly don't think that'd be the right thing to do. Because when that ball's deep in the pocket like that, it is so difficult to control the cue ball. So he needs to get rid of it. In fact, the thing is that the more you focus on this end of the table, it's not the first time you'll forget about that 4 ball hanging deep in the pocket. So, the 4 ball is about to go, I would assume. Bedhead is now 18 away from the next round. So, where are you, Brainful Out? Are you in the UK? So you're 5 hours behind. 5 hours ahead of Hairpig. Oh, he might have gone a bit straight in this 5. Yeah, he has. He is pretty much straight. I mean, he can pinch a bit of the pocket. He's got to watch. He doesn't. I think he's going back with bottom left to spin up into the table. Back towards us. Bottom left English pushes that cue ball up the table. He doesn't want to go too straight. He's got a slight angle, but he needs to thump this because these balls need to open. And he's not got a lot of angle to work with. That was the problem. And he needs to stop running so he can see the 13. Which I think he can. Just see enough of the 13. So is this Bedhead's final contribution to the match to take him over the line? Now, I mean, he's not calling these shots, so presumably we're accepting that as a called shot, that he banked it up the table. Oh dear. Well, guys, I'll be heading straight out as soon as this match is over. I won't be hanging around. I am long gone. So, while some of you are still here, thanks all for watching. Well, Bedhead doesn't play straight pool as far as I've seen, so you know, just for the etiquette of the game, he should strictly speaking be calling them. But that's not for me to be mentioning to him. So he's now 9 away. And they're all there. He doesn't need another rack, I don't think, if I can count right at this time of night. Little run into this 5, and that takes care of all the issues. Well, it ended up being worth watching this match, but if you were here for the first hour, some of them that were here for the first hour may well have long gone and gave up with the way Mr. Fox started, because he made absolutely no contribution whatsoever until it finally sunk in that when you start getting these chances, you have to start putting something away, and he eventually did. Ended up getting the highest run of the tournament, a run of, somebody will correct me again if I'm wrong, a run of 87, just when he needed it to at least give him a glimmer of hope. But that now is going to end in the next couple of minutes. When are you going to be playing, Moz? Because I want to just come into the stream and shout abuse at you. I want to be the stub of Twitch. Aye, that's what I was trying to say. Thanks all for watching, guys. We need the pleasure of your company in some of these streams. We're a small band, hoping to grow very slowly. But well done to Bedhead. He saw it through in the end. And unlucky to Mr. Fox, but thank God he woke up and made a match of it, because it was looking dire consequences for Mr. Fox. But he moves over to the one-loss side, but he has a big target for any of these guys to try and beat. 87 is a very good target, considering we're on these narrow pockets. So with that, guys, before we go, we'll have a quick glimpse at how Larry and Spectre Dawn are doing. If you want to see the end of that match, it's a race to 9, the final, and Larry is well, he's got a healthy lead at the moment. He's 6-3 up, and is he going to end Spectre Dawn's run? So with that, take care, stay safe. I'll bid you good night. I've got one shift tomorrow, and then I'm off for a week. Thank God for that. So I'll see you again at some point next week. Until then,